Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, have a little stack of blocks to hand. If you have them, a couple of the bricks is good. A low-level block is helpful as well. So yes, we are looking at splits, but try not to let that phase you, because we're doing splits all the time in our practice. Really, the splits is just one leg in flexion, one leg in extension. So lunges, they're splits. Warrior 3 is splits. Lots of different poses can be considered a split. So we're going to look at some of those variations today. Let's begin on our backs, and we can just take a few minutes there to settle as we come down, as we rest the body into the floor. So let the body rest and be held. Invite any unhelpful tension to soften, release. Let the breath be fluid. Tuning into what's here for you right now, here in the body, here in the mind. Acknowledging any emotions. And inviting a sense of allowing whatever's there just to be. And then beginning to move the body by bringing the knees in towards your chest. Draw those knees in. Take a little rock around. You might want to move the knees, the legs around in space for a few moments. And then bringing the hands onto the fronts of the thighs, just a little press forwards, and we'll lengthen the legs. Don't worry if they're not fully long. Rebend the knees, take a few more rounds. And then one more time. Let's lengthen the legs, hold there, take a few more breaths in this position. You might start to feel an active press of the lower back down into the mat. And then we'll bring the feet down and just for a moment, lift the hips, take a low hip bridge. And then as the pelvis comes down, we'll rest the hands to the floor, stretch the feet to the sky again. Once more, we'll press that lower back down. And from here, begin to lower the right leg. Might be a few inches, it might be halfway down, it might be slightly lower. And then right leg lifts. Switch to second side, left leg lowering. Keep that pressure down through the lower back, left leg lifting. And again, we lower the right leg. As you do so, can you squeeze the left thigh a little closer in towards the body? And then back to neutral. And again, we switch to that second side. And we'll continue with these movements for another few rounds to each side. So this is our first splits. And then just one more round to each side from here. Okay, let's bring the feet down again. We'll come back into that low bridge, and this time we'll hold for a little longer. And as we do so, get a little squeeze down and back on the heels. You might lift the toes and the soles of the feet as well. And then releasing all the way down again. Let's roll to one side and come around to all fours. We're going to take some cat-cow movements. So find your way around, set that all fours position, and then just begin to roll the pelvis forwards and back, flexing, extending the spine. And we'll take a little time with this practice, so you can just feel your way in. Gradually moving just a little further into each of the poses, the dog tilt and the cat stretch. So really lifting that upper spine, and as you roll the pelvis forwards, draw the chest through the upper arms. Let's take one more round. And then coming back to neutral, tuck the toes, come into your downward dog. Take a few breaths there, heels reaching back. You can soften, bend the knees a couple of times just to feel your way in. Okay, then begin to settle those movements down. Take another moment or two in your downward dog. And from your downward dog, we'll walk the hands back to the feet to find our standing fold, back edge of the mat. So walk the hands back, take a little bend into the knees so that the abdomen feels heavy on the thighs, the head can release. And then just work a little bit of length into the legs from there. Again, not to worry if there's some bend into the knees for now. We'll soften the knees a little bit and then press through the feet, lift those hips up again. And can you feel that you're actively squeezing your abdomen towards those thighs? You might feel those hip flexors active in the creases of the hips. Okay, fingertips down. Let's lift the heels, come into a little crouch with the knees inside the arms. Take a couple of breaths there. And from your crouch, we'll walk forwards to our plank. Set your plank for a couple of breaths, wrap the inner arms forwards, firm up those thighs, and then let's come all the way down onto the floor from there. Remember, knees can always come down first. We'll lower onto the body, the front body, untuck the toes, into low cobra from here. So pull back on the palms, keep the feet pressing down as you lift the chest a few inches, and feel as if you're rolling the base of the spine back towards the heels. Let's lift the hands, start to lift the chest a little higher, lift your gaze forwards, and then lower down from there. Strong through the whole body as we lift back up to all fours or up to plank, and then into your downward dog again. Let's take another round from there. So walk the hands back to the feet again. Find your standing fold. And we'll take a few more moments here in the fold position. Okay, fingertips down. Let's lift the heels again. Find your squat. And this time from the squat, we can use the hands as support. We're just going to drop the knees down a little bit, lean back. So we're bringing just a little bit of stretch into the thigh muscles, maybe into the hip flex as well. Keep a squeeze of the tailbone towards the backs of the knees. Okay, let's come back to neutral. Walk the hands forwards to plank again. And then from our plank, we'll lower onto the front body once more. Lower all the way down. Once you come onto the front body, untuck the toes. This time we'll place the hands flat to the floor with the fingers pointing to the space behind you. Roll the shoulders back again, lift the chest. Tailbone rolls to heels as we float the feet and the hands. Find that locust pose, squeezing shoulders back and wrapping the thumbs towards the ceiling so that the palms are facing out to the side. Okay, let's replace the hands again. Come up to all fours or back up to plank, and from there into your downward facing dog. We'll take a few more rounds of breath there. And from your downward facing dog, let's bring the feet forwards this time. Bring the feet forwards to the hands. Find that standing fold towards the front edge of the mat. And from your fold, let's start to roll our way up to standing mountain. So find your way up and take a couple of breaths once you've arrived there. If you need to adjust the position of the feet, find that spread of the toes. Let's move through a sun salutation, sweeping the arms up to the sky, softening the knees. We'll draw back down into that fold position. As the knees soften, plant the hands, step, or you can take your little hop to plank and through your preferred vinyasa from there. So knees down cobra or chaturanga up dog, or simply roll your way up and back to that downward dog position. Take a few more breaths there. And then from your downward dog, we'll bring the feet to the hands again, a step or a little jump forwards, draw down to fold. And from the fold, let's come all the way up again. Sweep the arms to the ceiling, connect the palms, draw down through center. Let's keep moving with the breath. We'll move through another round of sun salutation, reaching up, folding your way forwards, moving slow, steady through the transitions. So you can move at your own rhythm. And back to that downward dog position. From your downward dog, we'll bring the feet to the hands again, release to your fold. And from your fold again, let's come all the way up, feet connect down as arms sweep towards the ceiling. And down through center from there. One more round, back to downward dog. Again, you can move at your own pace. Controlling the transitions, staying aware of the quality of your movement as you shift from pose to pose. If you're working chaturanga up dog, keep those legs super strong. Okay, and this time from your downward dog, let's float the right leg, reach back through the right heel. Hold that position for a couple of breaths. And you can just play with the position of the pelvis here. So at the moment, pelvis more or less square, and then you might just roll the pelvis open a little bit, turn to look under your right armpit, and then roll the pelvis back towards the floor. And just notice how that affects the range available in the hips. Okay, and then the next time you square the pelvis, let's bring the right knee in towards the chest, bring your shoulders over your wrists, hold for a moment or two there, and then we'll step the right foot between the hands and the left knee down onto the floor as well. Now let's make the pose long. So walk the left knee back, left toes are tucked here. We'll begin with the fingertips light. We want to keep the hips low rather than popping up. And then we'll just begin to reach back through the left heel and lift the left knee away from the floor, just a little fraction of an inch above the mat. Squeeze the legs together there. Okay, then we can soften the left knee down. We're going to do that again, either with the hands down, or if you want to bring the hands to the front thigh, you can lift up just a little bit. Keep that squeeze of the legs together. And then bring the knee down again. Take a moment to rest. We'll take one more round. Again, squeeze the legs. Hands might even float. Squeezing, squeezing. Okay, bring the left knee down to the floor. We're going to move into half splits from here. So hands behind the line of the right heel, lift the toes, squeeze the legs. We shift forwards and back. You're pretty familiar with this one. So shifting in and out of that half splits position. Keep a squeeze down and back through the right heel. We'll do that twice more. And then hold your half split. So draw your way back. Again, right heel pulling back, firm up the thigh muscle as well. Draw back on the fingertips. Feel as if you're drawing into a bit of dog tilt here, lifting the chest. And we'll hold this position for a little while. You can stay up on the fingertips. You can be down on the hands. As always, you can take blocks underneath those hands for a little more support. And as we hold this position, just notice if there's any tension held through the body that's not helpful. So of course we need some tension in the legs, maybe in the abdomen as well, but the face can relax, the breath can relax, long out breaths. Encouraging the nervous system just to settle, feel balanced. That will help us to find a little bit more access into the range of the pose. Okay, last few moments here, and then we're going to shift that weight forwards again. So let's shift the weight into the right foot, bring the hands forwards, and again from here we can move back through our vinyasa to downward dog. And then we'll take the same series left side. So begin with the split dog, lifting the left leg, stretch back through the heel, start with the pelvis balanced, and then you can roll the top side of the pelvis open a little bit, roll back to square position, and just take that a couple of times. You might notice that with the hips open, we have access to a bit more range. Okay. So pelvis squared, left knee to chest, shoulders forwards, 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 press the floor away, step that left foot down onto the floor. Let's bring the right knee onto the mat as well. Long stance, back toes tucked. First round with the fingertips down, squeeze the legs together, reach back through the right heel, lift that right knee a fraction of an inch. Okay, right knee comes down. Take a moment, reset. Hands can stay there or hands can come onto front thigh. Again, roll the base of the spine down towards the back knee, squeeze the legs. Let's hover that back knee. And then back knee comes down again. Find the breath. One last round, hands here, or you can keep those hands floated, squeeze, lift, hover. And then return the right knee all the way down. Bring the hands to the floor. We'll move into that half split. So squeeze the legs, shift the weight backwards, shift the weight forwards a few more rounds, moving dynamically in and out of your half splits pose. And then one more time, we'll shift back, we'll hold. active along the back line, active along the thigh muscles as well. Fingertips are drawing towards the back edge of the mat, chest is lifting towards the front edge of the mat. And again, can we find that soft breath? Just allowing the in-breath long on the exhalation. We'll take just a couple more breaths here. And then from this position, once again, let's shift the weight forwards and move back to down dog or into child's pose if you prefer. Take a couple of breaths there. Okay, let's find down dog if you're not there already. And from downward dog to standing fold. And from standing fold, we'll find your mountain pose again. So find your way up, return to that mountain pose position, and take a breath there. Refocus your attention, your awareness. We're going to take a standing balance pose. We'll be balancing on the right leg. So I'll switch around actually. Spread the toes down. With the left leg, let's lift the knee, catch around the shin bone and squeeze the heel towards the sit bone, just as far as it wants to travel. Right knee can be soft. We're going to begin to lower the left knee towards the floor. Notice if you're arching the back, we want to feel that we're trying to roll the base of the spine underneath the body, and then just draw the left knee back until you can feel the stretch along the front line of the leg, in the hip, maybe in the quad muscles as well. Right hand can do what it feels comfortable with onto the hip. You can wave it out to the side as a little counterbalance. We're going to hold this position for a couple more breaths. When we think about the splits, we're often thinking about the front leg, the hamstrings, but the back leg is equally important. The hip flexors of the back leg can often be a real challenge to find access to our splits position. So just a few more moments here. Okay, now from this position, let's draw the left knee up towards the body again. Bring the hands together at the chest. Right knee stays soft. We're going to find warrior three balance. So start to hinge forwards. As you do so, stretch back through that left leg and keep that lift from the front body towards the back line of the body. Hold that position for a few more breaths. Just a little softening of the right knee, just a fraction. Okay. Now from here, let's start to reach the left foot all the way back, all the way down onto the mat. And once the left toes are grounded, bring the hands onto the floor. Now you can be up on fingertips here, or again, you can take hands onto the blocks, squeeze the legs together, draw the right leg long. And then as you rebend the right knee, we're going to lower the left knee towards the floor, not all the way down, just that little hover again. And then as we lift the left knee, we re-lengthen the right leg. So fingertips down, or you can take this practice with the hands reaching back. So we're bringing a little more load into the legs, squeeze, and re-lengthen the front leg. Challenges the balance as well. We'll do that twice more. So rebend the front knee, lower the back knee down, and then lift, re-lengthen the right leg. One last time. Okay, as you draw that right leg long, this time you can return the hands to the floor. We're going to hold here. Pull back on the hands, lift the chest just for a moment, and then start to fold towards that front shin. If the spine rounds, that's fine. And once again, just a few more moments here. We can consider this a very high splits. And from this pose, we're going to release the back knee all the way down onto the mat. So front knee will need to bend, obviously. Once we come down, you can slide the right foot back just a fraction. Let's come into low lunge. So squeeze the legs together, hands to the chest, lift the chest up. Find a little back bend variation of your low lunge. A sense again that the tailbone is drawing down rather than just completely dropping that pelvis forwards into the front leg. If you want to bring the hands around to the pelvis for support, that's fine. Shoulders roll back, chest stays lifted. Front body lifting towards the chest. Final option is to reach back towards the back heel with the left hand. Right arm sweeps up and over from there. So like a one-legged version of our camel pose. Okay, from here, let's begin to reverse our way back. We'll meet in downward dog. So hands down, take the step back or the vinyasa back, set that down dog position for a few breaths. And from downward dog, we'll travel to standing fold again. So feet travel forwards, take the fold, and from the fold all the way up again, and we can set for the second side from there. So find your mountain pose, toes are spreading. We shift the weight over to the left leg this time, bring the right knee up, catch around the shin, squeeze the heel towards the sit bone as far as it wants to come. Again, soft knee, roll the tailbone towards that left knee, underneath the body, start to draw the right knee back. It might be here, slightly forwards of the left knee, might be in line. For some of you, it might be slightly behind the left knee. For me, just about here is fine. I can feel that sensation across the front of the right thigh and hip. Again, left hand can rest where it wants to rest. So let's begin to draw that right knee in towards the body again. Hands together at the chest, soft through the left knee as we start to fold our way forwards, lifting front body to back body as we find that warrior three balance second side. Pelvis more or less square to the floor here. Stretch through the back heel. Take a couple more breaths there. And then let's start to release our way down towards the lunge. So right toes to the floor, up on fingertips or blocks again, squeeze the legs together, draw that left leg long to begin. As we rebend the left knee, we'll lower the right knee down towards the mat, not all the way down, and then lift, re-lengthen. Again, hands can stay down or you can reach back, challenge the balance. Might be a little more or less stable this side. Keep the big toe knuckles grounded. And then one more time, we'll lengthen the left leg, release the hands down, hold that fold position. Just for a moment, pull back on the palms, lift the chest as if we're trying to do a dog tilt, and then we refold. Let's transition to the low lunge from here. So bring that right knee down. You can just slide the left knee back, the left foot back, sorry, a fraction. Bring the hands to the chest, squeeze the legs, lift the chest up towards the ceiling. And as we hold this position, same options as first side. We can keep the active lift of the chest to the thumbs, the belly button drawing up towards that chest, or we can bring the hands around to the lower back, a little more support. Final option is to reach back for the right heel, keep the lift of the chest as we sweep the left arm up and over from there. And we'll hold just for a few more moments. Let's start to reverse our way back. No rush, slowly, slowly up. Hands come down, and we move to that dog pose or into child's pose again. And we'll take another 3-4 rounds of breath here. From your downward dog, let's begin to travel forwards, find the fold. And from the fold, once again, we'll draw our way up and we'll return to our mountain pose. We're going to set for a second standing balance. So balancing on the right leg, toes spreading, shift the weight over, draw the left knee up towards the body. This time catch around the left knee, hold here. Now right leg strong, strong, pressing the foot down. We can stay here or we can reach inside the left knee. Use your first 2 fingers to grip the big toe. Start to extend that foot forwards. There might be some bend in the knee, that's fine. Or you can stretch the leg fully long. And if you want to take a little fold towards the left leg, that's fine as well. Just drawing a little more range through that front leg. Otherwise, we stay more upright. Remember that knee can stay bent. It can even be a lot bent. Okay. Let's start to release. So draw the left knee in, hands together, reach all the way back with that left leg. All the way back, I need to step forwards. Release the toes to the floor. Once we've come down, let's walk around for wide leg fold. Take a couple of breaths there. Spin the toes around, releasing to that wide leg fold position. Okay. And then from the wide leg fold, we'll lift the chest. Let's spin the right toes around again. And once we've come around, if the left foot is directly behind the right foot, hop it a little bit out to the side, out to the left. Then take the heel onto the mat. Hand to the right shin or the right ankle as we draw that right leg long. And we'll find triangle pose from here. So we can keep the left hip drawing forwards as we roll the top side of the rib cage back. And just explore the pose. So you can shift around with the front thigh, just rolling it in, rolling it out, till you work the stretch through the back line of the leg in the way that feels most effective for you. Okay, from our triangle pose position, we're going to release that left hand down to the floor, come onto the heel of onto the toe knuckles of the back foot so the hips are square, and then find your standing splits from here. So shift forwards, fold to the right leg. Hands can stay down, they can catch hold of the leg, maybe one hand or both hands, hold that position for a little longer. And then left toes return to the floor. And from there again, we can move back into downward dog. 3 or 4 rounds of breath once we're there. And from downward facing dog, again, we'll bring those feet to the hands. We'll take the fold and we'll come up to reset for the second side through that series of poses. Okay, so now we're up into our mountain pose. We'll take that spread of the toes again. This time we're balancing left leg, so shift the weight over, draw the right knee up to the chest and make the standing leg strong. So press through that standing foot. Same options as first side. We stay here or we reach inside the knee to grip the toe. lengthen forwards to here or fully lengthen, you might want to take that little fold towards the standing leg again. Sorry, the raised leg. As my foot presses forwards, my hand draws back. So I'm drawing that shoulder blade onto the back body. Okay, from here, we start to move our way back to the lunge again. Lift the knee, step all the way back, all the way down to the floor. Once the hands are grounded, we can walk around for a second round of that wide-legged fold. Shuffle the feet around as needed. If you want to take a variation, hold the ankles, hands to hips, behind the back. Take which version you like best. And then if they're not already, we'll return the hands to the floor. Let's lift the chest again, walk around for triangle pose left side. So we'll walk the hands around. Again, take that little hop out with the right foot, heel onto the mat. Left hand to wherever you want to bring it to as you draw that left leg long. Feet squeezing together. We start to roll our way into the pose from there. And again, you can take that wrap of the inner thigh forwards or wrap it out. Just work out where it feels like it's working best for you. And as we did with the right side, from our triangle pose, we're going to move around into the standing split. So top hand can float down. Square the pelvis, shift forwards, fold towards that standing leg. Use the hands for support or explore a balance, a combination of the two perhaps. And then let's reverse back to that downward dog again. So step back or vinyasa back, set the downward dog. And then this time from the downward dog position, we're going to come through to a seated pose. So a step or a jump forwards. Come down onto the floor. And once you're down, we'll stretch both legs out in front. As always, if you want to sit up on a low level block, that can help just to release the hips a little bit. Draw the chest forward, start to fold. Hands can come to wherever they want to come to. And we're going to hold this fold position. And feel into the breath here. So as the breath draws in, you might feel just a little lift of the chest, extending along the spine. And as you exhale, we fold towards those shins again. The top of the head lengthening towards the feet. Okay, let's start to find our way up from the fold. So roll your way up. Once you come up from your fold, we'll bend the knees. Just lean back a little bit so we're on tiptoes. Float the fingers forwards. Toes can drag in. We're into boat pose. Stay here or stretch the legs long. Keep that lift through the chest. From your boat pose, we're going to lower halfway down to half boat, stretch forwards. And then up we come again. Hold the top position. Try not to slump the back here. Keep the chest lifted, shoulders drawing back. And then again, lower to half boat. Stretch the fingers forwards. One last time. Let's draw up into that top position. Feet more or less in line with eyes. Shoulders squeeze back. You might feel lots of work now along those hip flexors. Last time we'll lower halfway down. This time we can release all the way down onto our backs. Take a few soft breaths there. Let the belly relax. Okay. Let's stay on our back for a moment. Left leg's going to firm up. So stretch forwards with the left heel. Bring the right knee in towards the chest. And then just stretch the right leg long, wherever it comes to. That might be slightly forward of the hips. It might be above the hips. It might be towards the body. So begin in this position. Take a couple of moments there. And we're going to use the hands to reach for that right leg, wherever you can catch hold of. The higher up the leg, the kind of easier it is really. So slide the hands up as far as they want to come, and then just use those hands to draw a little bit more range into that leg. And again, we'll hold here. Rather than arching the spine here, feel that the back is spreading, the tailbone is lengthening towards that left heel. So reclining splits position. We'll hold for a little longer. And then holding the right leg in position, let's lift the nose towards the knee, doesn't have to touch. Stretch the fingertips forwards from there. See if we can squeeze just a fraction more range out of that front leg. Thighs firm, heel pressing up or away. And then we'll rebend the right knee, take that foot to the floor, rebend the left knee as well, take a breath between sides. Okay, let's move to that second side. So right leg long, spread the back down, lift the left knee in, stretch the left foot up to the sky, wherever that starting position is. And then we'll use the hands again, catch around the leg, wherever you can reach to, slide the hands as far up as we can, and use those hands just to introduce a little bit more range again. As you draw the leg in, it might be that you can slide the hands slightly further up again. And just a little resistance of the leg against the hands. Let's hold that left leg in position, lift the head, stretch the fingers forwards, see if we can squeeze that left thigh in, hold for a last few breaths. Right leg continues to be strong and firm. Okay, let's bend the left knee, come down, bend the right knee as well. Again, we'll take a moment here. We're going to find our way back from here to downward facing dog. So you can either roll to the side, come up that way, or you can rock your way up, take our press, our lift back from there. And then from your downward dog, let's raise the right leg again, step the right foot forwards between the hands. Left knee comes down onto the floor. Okay, so we're going to have a look at our full splits position. This is where the blocks can come in very handy. So we're going to take our time, there's no rush. And remember, the splits is really just one leg being forwards, one leg being back. So we can start up here, and then we can just step the foot to there. That can be our start position. And if that feels comfortable, you might find a little more range, just working your way around. At a certain point, if the hips come down far enough, it's going to start to shrug the shoulders up with the hands up on the block. So you can take the lower setting, work forwards, back toes are tucked, and we want to keep the pelvis square. Now, if you remember from our down dog, that will mean we've got a bit less range, but that's fine. We're not really worried about that. So that either the back toes are tucked or the top of the foot is flat, but rather than rolling to the inner edge of the foot, I'm rolling towards the outer edge. And again, we can hold here. You might come down a little further still. Take that right leg slightly further forwards. And can we find that long out breath again? So soft on the in breath, long on the out breath. My right thigh is firm. can we invite the nervous system just to relax, just to be with what's here? So if it feels a little agitated, you might release out a little bit, find that soft breath, and then invite yourself to slowly creep your way down into the pose as well. And it really doesn't matter how low we're coming down into. If we're up here, we're still in our splits position. We won't be here much longer. So hold for another few breaths. And then from your splits position, take the hands down, slide that right leg back, and reset your downward dog from there. And then from down dog, let's move through the left side. We'll lift the left leg, step forwards. Now again, from here, we start high up on the blocks, and we just start to creep the right knee back, the left foot forward. So you'll need to lift the leg a moment to place the heel down. That can be our splits position. We want to find a place where we feel we're not stressing ourselves too much. And then after a few moments there, then you might find a little deeper down into the pose. So if we go to our very end place in the pose too quickly, the whole body is going to start to resist that. It's going to tense up. So find that range, hold for a few moments longer, keep breathing, keep soft. And again, if you want to stay here, or come down a little further still, just work your way in nice and gradually. No rush, no hurry with these poses. And remember, if we start to feel that everything's squeezing up, tightening up, reverse back a little bit. Find that breath again, soft, soft. And then we might draw back down again. Okay, last few moments here this side. Use the hands for support. Press, whether you're using the blocks or not. Squeeze the left leg back. Let's come into child's pose from here. So, in fact, we're going to take a version of the child's pose, which is more like puppy dog pose. So, bring the arms down and just rest the head to one side. Soften the chest towards the floor. So, we're bringing a little bit of stretch through the shoulders as well. Okay, and then from here, let's find our way onto our backs. So you might want to transition through down dog again, take another transition forwards and through, and then roll down onto your back from there. And once you've come down onto your back, we're going to set for our bridge pose. So feet flat, lower back pressing, spreading down. And from there, we can lift the hips up into that bridge pose position. Let's get a little squeeze back on the feet, then shift the weight over to one side, reach the opposite leg up towards the sky. Okay, and then we'll switch sides. So lower down with control, bring that top leg to the floor, roll the pelvis down, press through hands and feet, we lift, and switch to the second side. Shift the weight over, take the top leg towards the ceiling, and we'll hold here. Okay, let's lower again. Bring the pelvis down, then bring the foot to the floor. Take a few breaths to soften. And two choices. You can either take another round of your bridge pose, switching one leg towards the sky, hold for a few breaths, then switch to second side. Or once you've come into your bridge pose, you can move into one round of upward bow pose. Bring the hands to the floor, elbows wrapping in, and we lift up from there. We can stay with both feet down, or we can reach one leg up towards the ceiling. Again, hold for a few breaths. Switch to second side. When you're ready to come down, chin to chest, shoulders down, and we return to the floor. So either stay with bridge or one round of upward bow, optionally exploring the one leg version. And then when you release down this time, when the pelvis has made it to the floor, let's move into reclining twist position. So hands wherever feels comfortable, drop the knees down to one side or the other, take any version of that twist position. And then switching over to the second side from there. So shift the hips over, bring the knees around to the second side. And then from this side, we're going to roll all the way over, find your way up and set a cross-legged position. So comfortable cross-legged seat. From there, we'll take a little fold forwards and soften down over the shins. So again, if there's any unhelpful tension here, soften away, release. Find that soft flow of the breath again. Let's roll our way up, switch across to the shins and release forwards again. And then finding your way up once again. Once you come up, simply rest the hands onto the legs, bring the eyes closed if that's comfortable, and take a few moments here. Just breathe and be with the body again. Drop awareness down inside. Note how you're feeling physically. Again, note any thoughts, any emotions here. Asking yourself, has anything shifted from the start of the practice to this moment? And then take that connection with you as you begin to roll down onto your back once again. And once you've come down, you can set up for your resting pose. So either keep the knees bent, maybe with those knees resting against one another, or you can take the legs long if you prefer, with the toes dropping out. Back of the neck is long. Palms either turned open to the sky or resting on the belly. Once we're there, we can release again. Soft breath, feel held by the floor.